Ideal Protein Nation. 2023. Happy New Year. First show of this brand new year, and we are coming out of the gate with a bang. We have a story for you today that is going to blow your mind. An incredible lady that I'm so anxious for y'all to meet. There's been a lot of activity over the holidays. I've seen a lot of new people subscribing, liking, and watching the show. So real quick, I just want to introduce everybody who might be new to the Life Possible podcast. Welcome to the Life Possible podcast. The Life Possible podcast is actually designed to spotlight successful clients, coaches, and clinic owners who have used the Ideal Protein weight loss and stabilization protocol, not only to reset their body, but reset their mind and reset what's actually possible for their life. These people, they're pursuing goals and dreams now that they thought were dead and gone. They're pursuing goals and dreams they never even knew they wanted to pursue. So who am I and why am I actually doing this? Well, I tell you what, there's no easy way to put it. My name's Dr. John Barnes, and I'm the clinic director at Reset Wellness in Centerville, Virginia, outside of Washington, D.C. And 8 years ago, this was Christmas 2014, I was fat, sick, and depressed. And the worst part about it was I had no idea how to get myself out of it. Everything I tried to do, eat less, exercise more, et cetera, did not work for me. However, I truly believe that God brought me the Ideal Protein Protocol as the answer to all of my prayers, both personally and professionally. Here I am in 2021, 7 years after that, and I completed my first half Ironman triathlon distance. I tell you, it has changed my life dramatically. It has changed my life possible, and I've dedicated my life to helping as many people do the same. So who do I have for you today? I'm telling you, my special guest, Sharon James. Sharon is a client of one of my really great friends down in Texas. And as you'll find, Sharon's story, Sharon did not start her life off in a wheelchair, but in a cruel twist of fate, she found herself an incomplete quadriplegic. Sharon had to deal with many struggles, personal struggles and health struggles on her own. But the Ideal Protein Protocol, I believe, came to her in the same way it did me, as well as her coach. And that's what we're going to do today is we're going to share her story of triumph, her story of weight loss, restoring metabolic health, and talk to her about what her life is like today. Who is her coach and who is also going to be on the show with us? Well, that is none other than the incomparable Wendy White Stevens. You might recognize Wendy if you are part of Ideal Protein Nation. She is a clinic owner and coach, head coach at the Institute for Metabolic Transformation in Texas. She is in charge of the Real Women of Ideal Protein, and she is my co-host on the podcast that she created, Encore. I know I've talked enough. Let me bring them in. Where are you ladies? Let's go. Hey, Sharon.
Hi, Dr. Barnes. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Hey, Wendy.
Hey, Happy New Year, y'all.
Happy New Year to you. How were your holidays?
It's great.
They were wonderful.
Yeah?
Yep.
Excellent. So here we are, January 20th. I can't even believe it.
I know.
Right? We're like almost all the way through the first month of 2023.
I know.
It's just going.
Things have been going great guns around here. It's busy season for Ideal Protein clinics. Raise your hand if you're in phase one. Oh, I guess I'm the only one. Oh, no, Wendy. Wendy and I are in phase one, right? It's January. It's what you do, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you have to watch out, Sharon. We're both in ketosis. We're just going to be, we're going to be talking and talking. All right, let's get the show going. Okay. I wanted to start the show off, Sharon. Wendy brought me your story, and just again, it touched my heart. And it's such a story of triumph. I would like for you to start our show off by telling all of our viewers and listeners. Let's take us all the way back to 1987 when your life changed.
Okay.
Tell us about that.
So in 1987, I was the victim of a robbery. I was shot. Um, and from that gunshot, it left me as a incomplete quadriplegic. Um, C45, as a matter of fact, so that's pretty high up in the spine.
It's up in your
It's
neck.
very
Yeah,
high up. So I'm incomplete C45 quad. Um, it's a very traumatic experience for myself, not only for myself but my family. And plus, I had two small children at that time as well. And so, with that means that quadriplegic means that you're not able to move your limbs freely um,
right.
as you would before you were injured.
Mhm.
I was told that I would be bedridden for the rest of my life. I couldn't even raise my head up off the pillow. I could just lay there and turn it from side to side. And so, me being actually, when I think about it now, my speech was at a whisper. So
Wow.
even my vocals were very, very low. It was at a whisper. So it was really trying, but I just really couldn't see myself being like that for the rest of my life. So
Right.
I've always been this determined person. So for my voice, I had my mom to bring a radio to the hospital, and I just sung it back because I love to sing. I think I could sing. So I just sung all the time and brought my voice back. And even with that being said, knowing that I was supposed to be this bedridden person for the rest of my life, I just didn't accept that. I started some intensive therapy. I lived in a nursing home for a short period of time, but not really
Yeah.
a period. Lived there for a while, from 88 to I think 94. But I was getting
Yeah.
a lot of therapy while there um, to help me get to where I'm able to get out of the bed, weight bearing, battle bladder control, being able to take steps with assistance, just being able to do those things that I was told that I would never be able to do, that I never accepted. I think it's really a mindset on what you know and believe that you can do. And so my mindset was, I'm not going to be in this bed for the rest of my life. Plus, I think I'm too cute for that. So didn't want to do that.
I
I'm still
agree.
young.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Sharon, already you're fulfilling what Wendy and I just talked about. You're already giving me some amazing stuff that we haven't even talked about.
Well,
Number
hey, I'm
one,
still young. I got a lot of dating ahead of me, so hey,
oh,
I need to get up out this bed. I need to go and do some stuff.
all right. You heard it here on the Life Possible podcast. So we'll get contact information for Sharon later on after the show if you're interested in dating.
Hey,
And you didn't say anything about singing. Otherwise, you know that I'd make you sing on the show.
oh, please don't do that.
So, Sharon, I want to walk you back a little bit because when I met you, when we talked on the phone with Wendy last week, you explained to me there's some subtle nuances to your quadriplegia, right? It's incomplete, but also you called it upside down. Can you take us through that? What did you mean by that?
Yeah, so it was kind of confusing to me as well as I was going through rehab. I was being labeled as this central cord or upside down cord because, ironically, for me, my legs are stronger than my arms.
Hmm.
So I could I can push 10 or 15 pounds up to 20 maybe with my legs, but with my arms I can probably pick up three. And so they would call that a upside down quad or a central cord quad. So I'm like, they really don't know what's going on with me. But that's what I was told, that I was considered a upside down quad or a central quad. And so I went with it and I made the best of it and doing what all I could do to better me to be able to move forward in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. And, like we found out, that is inside your core. That is who you are.
Yeah.
And if we stop the show here, it's already an amazing story. Right.
Thank
Wendy,
you.
I'd like to tap you a little bit. We're going to let you talk. Otherwise, Sharon and I'll just keep going. Wendy,
It's okay.
is there anything that you would like to add to that Sharon hasn't said in your experience of her history? Things that when you're first hearing about Sharon's story that came up to you?
What's really resonating with me in the moment is, all of the dedication and determination and Sharon's spirit and her using the word mindset. All of that was absolutely demonstrated and represented from our first conversation, full of curiosity and the thirst for education and understanding. And also just navigating, an experience in phase one. I hate to say she had a typical experience, but there's a lot of really compelling starter points for someone coming into the protocol. And it does take the mindset and the determination. And, so that is something that is obviously just in Sharon's DNA, because she didn't flex on bringing that spirit to the experience for phase one, stabilization or maintenance, right? She hasn't stopped that. And I think that's where kind of spiritually we've always connected well.
So and before we give away too many things, let's dwell as we're moving forward in her history.
Yeah.
So if this wasn't enough, right? In 1994, then another health crisis that you have to deal with. Can you take us through that, Sharon? 1994, your first DVT, deep vein thrombosis.
Yes. So in 1994, mind you, I'm this person that is a incomplete quad. With that comes along with either scattered sensation or no sensation in your bodily limbs. You can't feel anything. But with me, it's scattered and sometimes it's hypersensitive, especially on the left side of my body. And so I was feeling these like sharp needle pains in my legs, And so I was diagnosed at that time with deep vein thrombosis, which in layman's term, blood clots. And so I was told that I had blood clots in my legs, which led me to have to have lab works done sometimes 2 to 3 times a week to make sure that my blood wasn't clouding to where it was blockage in my veins or arteries. And so that led me to have to be on a blood thinner. At this time, it was Coumadin. And so I was taking the Coumadin blood thinners, and I'm still on blood thinners now for that because this is something I've been battling for a long, long time. And so just that alone kind of puts a damper on just life itself, because you're like, okay, I stepped out of one thing, and I'm stepping into another thing that I'm going to have to deal with for the rest of my life. But how do I get through it? And so just surviving that storm, still surviving that storm. So that's just a part of my life, who I am, but I don't let it get me down. I just do what I have to do with it, which is awesome in itself, because being on Coumadin kind of limits your intake of a lot of green leafy vegetables, the vitamin K that we would normally incorporate in our daily meals. So I couldn't do it all that. I couldn't eat a lot of green leafy vegetables and fish oils and things like that, because it would interact with my medication. So that was a problem for me. So I didn't really eat a lot of vegetables. I ate a lot of other stuff, fried foods, chicken, fish, all that good old greasy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to worry about
Absolutely.
Look, I didn't have to worry about eating the vegetables. So, hey, I didn't worry about it. I just ate other stuff.
License not to eat vegetables. I love that.
That was
Man, when I was a kid, that's all I wanted. A reason not to have to eat my vegetables.
Right.
And I had a reason. So.
Also, too, that's not the only thing that you have dealt with in your health history. Wendy pointed out some other things when we were talking last week. Do you have any other complicating health factors that are going on or were going on?
Yeah. Here recently, a few years ago, I had to have a total removal of my thyroid. I was having some issues with my thyroid, so I had to get my thyroid removed. You're talking about going
Yeah.
the ringer. So I had to go through that. Something that turned out to be a over 1 day, a procedure turned out to be a 2 to 3 days stay in the hospital due to, of course, the DVT.
Yeah. Yeah.
So having to have that done, having to deal with, you know, just the whole depression of it all. How do you get past this? It's like every time you have a leg up, something else throws you back. So just having to deal with that, going through that depression, realizing that you're spiraling down, but what can you do about it? And so once again, I've always been a person who believes in God, very spiritual. So I'm going back to that prayer closet saying, okay, God, you brought me through all those other things. I know you still got me. So where do I go from here? So there I
Yeah.
went again, back in that prayer closet saying, okay, I'm going to come back out swinging again. So I had to come back out swinging again. And so that was that.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And that's another reason where we connect, another place where we connect. Um, yeah, Wendy, also too, comments about her health history, comments about thyroid issues, DVTs, all those things before we even consider ideal protein.
It was, I love the opportunities that being an ideal protein clinic owner and coach presents for me to actually make an authentic human connection with someone who I may otherwise never know and never meet and be a part of their story and have them be a part of mine. But as you well know, all of the things that Sharon has said, if we just took one of those
Right.
health history issues, we could easily just start geeking out on just how much value there was to be gained by entertaining a healthier lifestyle and the ideal protein protocol. One of the other things that Sharon hasn't mentioned, she might be getting to it, is a full hysterectomy as well. That's also a part of her story. And
It is.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Forgot about the little nasty part. And that again came
Just,
from,
just forgot.
yeah, that again came from the DVT. Wendy knows me. I am an open book. I will share
yeah,
anything in my life. And that again came from the DVT, not knowing why am I constantly having this bleeding. You're talking about the lady in the Bible with the issue of blood that bled 12 years. Well, I went 6 months and I couldn't take it anymore. So I'm like, okay, how she did it, but this is not working for me. So let's just take
yeah,
this baby on up out of here. So that's what we did. So y'all laughing at me. I'm serious. So that's what we did.
No, it's
know,
the gift that keeps on giving. DVT,
the gift that keeps on
unbelievable,
giving. You're,
right?
you're doing all you can do, but you're study taking this
Ah,
medicine, and it's affecting something else because you
yeah,
have the medicine that you have to take, but you're still having this serious bleeding going on. So we have to reset again, and that's what I have to do. Have that playpen taken out.
yeah. Just something else to kind of overcome, like a rise to the challenge, you know, somewhat make peace with it in order to keep that persevering spirit alive and just see how we can manage this new part of your health history to get you into a healthier state.
Right.
yeah. So you mentioned that new diet, no vegetables, lots of fried foods.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that doing to you?
Well, you saw the before picture. You saw, man. I'm gonna tell you. I'm thinking, sitting down. When you look down at yourself, it's a different thing. But when you look in the mirror, you see something totally different. So you're just sitting and you look down, you're like, oh man, I'm fine this line. But when you look in the mirror and look at yourself, you're like, oh my God,
Mhm. Yeah.
what is going on? So you don't know that the weight is really coming on. I told Wendy, I believe that they make leggings because a lot of women just wear leggings every day because you don't know you're gaining the weight. It just conforms with whatever you have going on. And then you try to put on a good solid pair of 12 size jeans and go, "Ooh, I can't get into these anymore." Well, God dog, you been wearing leggings every day. So you don't know you're gaining the weight. So, because, I mean, seriously, you don't
Yeah.
know. And so I'm like, wow, it's really mind changing. So when I realized that I've gained so much weight, it was once again that depressing state. What do I do? And I can remember um, my sister calling me one day, telling me that she was talking to her doctor, and her doctor stated that if she didn't lose some weight, she can be pre-diabetic. And I thought, wow, this is something that is, I like to call it a generational curse. My mom, pre-diabetic, my aunt, diabetes, hypertension running through the family. And at that
Mhm.
point, I thought to myself, I already have all these other underlying conditions going on with me. We're going to break this curse right now. I'm not going to go through that. I need to lose some weight because I don't even want to hear it. So that's when I reached out and I was talking to my brother about it and everything, about the different things that I was living going through. I consider my brother my best friend. They've been always in there for years.
Oh,
And he had told me about I did protein. And I was like, really? I give it a shot, but I don't know. I can't exercise. I can't do any of that good stuff. I've tried everything. I did the Genie, I did the Weight Watchers, I did the Nutrisystem, I
Yeah.
did the makeshift things at home. I drank the vinegar, I drank the apple cider vinegar, I drank the lemon juice with the hot water. I mean, you do all you
Yeah.
can do. You can't lose the weight. So I gave it a shot, and I was like, "Oh God, that's gonna be a lot of money." Then I thought to myself, "Invest in yourself, nuts! You buying all these fast foods every day. There you go, right there. So do something different." So
Yeah.
I
I
called
love
Wendy.
it.
I called. Well, I don't think I called. I think I did an email, and she gave me a call back. And I was thinking to myself, "What am I gonna do? This lady's gonna be hounding me and getting on my nerve about getting in this program." Nope. It's up to you. She's going to give you the information that you need, but it's your decision. She's not going to hound you. She's not going to get on your nerve. If you want to make this change in your life, it's going to be you calling me saying, "Hey, I'm ready." But I've given you what you need. I'm not going to bother you. And she did not. I was surprised. Normally you get an interest in something and they just hound you and hound you and hound you until you say, "Okay, let's give it a try." Nope. My total decision. And when I made that decision, wow. You're talking that first email from her was information overload. I almost lost my mind.
Yeah, we talked about that. I can't imagine information overload from Wendy.
I can't, but I love it because just the
Yeah.
educational piece alone is huge. It's a difference in just losing weight, but knowing why you're losing the weight, how you're losing the weight, and what happens behind the scenes of losing the weight is a total difference because it helps you keep it off.
Yeah.
Versus, okay, I've lost it. Now I'm gonna start back eating again. Mm-mm. It's the educational piece along that's huge for me. And plus, I like to read, so it wasn't a problem for me. But I was just really shocked. Like, is she a nerd almost like me? God, this is gonna
Well,
be a lot.
yeah, right.
A lot.
And
It
that's what
really
you
was a lot.
said. Your educational background, et cetera, just made you naturally curious and want to understand and learn all
Yeah.
that stuff. So God could not have paired you up with a better person than Wendy. Wendy, I'm going to give you a chance, right?
Okay. I mean,
Tell
there
us from
were,
your perspective when you
uh-huh.
first heard from Sharon, you called her, you talked to her. Tell us your side of that.
Yeah. It really was one of those interventionally divine moments. I love when people reach out and want information. And it's important as a clinic owner and a coach that we meet clients where they're at, right?
Mm.
We know all these things, and it's easy, to get really excited about their future. But I have to try and temper some of that. There's still a whole lot of Wendy that comes through, even in the initial engagement. So I started with a little bit of information, and I did let her know before we even got really started with additional sharing that her doctor needed to be a part of this. He needed to review the protocol and what we were going to be embarking on if she felt like it was the right fit for her, and have his permission, because it was going to be critical that we continued to work together through the duration of our engagement. And so Sharon did take the necessary paperwork to her physician. They discussed, the protocol, and we got that back. And, we had to start at the very beginning with, what does a day in the life of phase 1 look like? We know what we're working towards. We know what Sharon's Powering Life Possible story could definitely hold. But it all started with, how do we build a successful day 1 for somebody who is coming into the protocol, eating those fried foods and, kind of living more so with those poor food choices. What is it going to look like to keep her satisfied with her food choices? All 3 of us here on this podcast are eaters. There's no 2 ways about that. And so that part of the support and the initial engagement was critical, because she had the education to know that it was a science-based approach. That part of it excited her. I always like to say it kind of turns on the light at the end of the tunnel when you realize that there's more than just hope here, right? And she was willing to start down that track. And so that is exactly where we started. It was kind of foundational with best practices to make your first couple of weeks as easy as possible. We don't have to become culinary artists. We don't have to end up being a slave to the kitchen. We don't have to turn our love language into something that it wasn't naturally as far as food preparation. And Sharon was open to receiving that. Her dedication followed through with her curiosity for getting it right. And it was just a wonderful launch. We did a lot of one-on-one, even including and incorporating new spices and lean proteins and the vegetables, starting with the ones that she liked, and then incorporating new vegetables as it made sense. But it was a really thrilling time for me. And I've gotten plenty of chills there. I love that picture.
So I just don't feel like you 2 hit it off. There might have been a miss. I love this picture where you're both twinning for this visit.
I was like, oh my gosh, we're twinning. Can I take a picture? And I love it. I think this really encapsulates the nature of our relationship. It's been her and I, step by step, side by side, smiling and just enjoying the experience for all that it afforded both of us.
Yeah. Very Sharon, special. Did you connect? Do you feel like you connected with Wendy?
Yes, I really did from the beginning. Even now, sometimes I had to restrain myself because I was so nervous. I would just text this lady like she worked for me specifically 24 hours a day, and I had to catch myself and say, I'm quite sure she gets off at some time of the day. Don't be late,
Right? Me too. I say that all the time.
Yeah, there's a little bit of downtime, but I take the approach that everybody as individuals, their appointment and their engagement is the one that matters most to them, right? So I have to carry through with the same level of support and tenacity and care and knowledge for Sharon or whomever I'm working with, because their journey is the one that matters most to them.
Damn, my people just suffer in my office.
No, they don't.
They don't have care like that. They don't have. There's no coaching like that for me.
We can debate that later.
Wow.
Hey, so let's kind of go through some of the journey, some adventures in cooking in phase 1.
Oh, that's my food. Hey, so you guys have to realize that I've never been a cook. Ever. And mind you, I can't physically cook because I am disabled. So I can't reach up in the cabinet and put a plate out or put a pot on the stove. So I never really went in the kitchen to cook. I have a caregiver. So I would tell her what I want, and she would go in the kitchen and cook it for me. but it all changed. And it's
Yeah.
all I had to wind up rolling my happy butt in the kitchen saying, okay, I need for you to put this in that pot. I need for you to cut this up. Actually giving instructions on how to prepare my food for me while I'm in the kitchen with her. Total game changer for me. I'm like, okay,
Wow.
I just can't
Wow.
watch television and tell somebody to go in and cook something for me. That's not happening anymore. I have to get my butt in the kitchen now. Like I'm
Yeah.
doing it. Okay, so if you look at this picture on the, I guess that's the right side, totally something
Which,
different. This is my vegetables, my roasted vegetables. So I have all type of vegetables in here. It was
Mm-hmm.
so delicious. It's like I have mushrooms and broccoli and cauliflower and all types of colorful bell peppers in there. And I roasted that baby and it was so good. It was so good. And then my first meatloaf on the right hand side.
yeah, yeah.
Vegetable meatloaf, guys. Hey, I had like some rice broccoli and some rice cauliflower in there and some seasoning, some bell peppers in there. You're talking good. It was so good.
Uh-huh.
I called when I went, how much of this do I eat? And so it was good. It was good. And I still make it right today. It's healthy and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. What do we got here?
That is my beef. Actually, it's my steak. It's my steak.
Yeah.
I had some cauliflower rice and some bell peppers. Um, and some bell peppers in there, and just some more seasonings in there. And it was really, really good. It was really good. So that was one of my, I call it one of my Chinese meals. I mean, my own Chinese dish. So it's like my beef and my Chinese rice.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and here we go. G. Hughes, one of my
And,
favorites.
and I was just showing out here, guys. I'm like, hey, I got this Chinese because I love Chinese. So I made myself some shrimp fried rice. Look at that bowl. I got the shrimp in there. I got the cauliflower rice down there with those bell peppers in there, all cut up, different colored bell peppers. Then I got my G Hughes. I love him. All of
Mm-hmm.
the condiments are so good. And this was actually really good.
It's a
I
delicious
enjoyed
bowl.
every bite and it was healthy. I didn't have the regular old fried brown rice that we would buy with shrimp fried rice. I had some healthy cauliflower rice and it was good. So yeah, loved it.
All right. So, oh, we're moving ahead. I don't want to go too far. So, take take me through. You're going through phase one. You're starting to lose the weight. You're getting the hang of this.
Yeah.
Um, talk to us about changes that you might be seeing in your health along the way as you're losing this weight.
Okay, so of course, to get into the program, you have to get these documents signed by your doctor. So I talked to my doctor about, what my goal was. I wanted to lose weight. He's known that I've tried these other things in the past. Um, I didn't follow through with any of those because I couldn't lose the weight. Um, so you're taking this information about added protein. Of course, he's your doctor. He's gonna jump aboard. He signed it. I gave him the packet. Didn't mean he read through all that like I did. I'm quite, he put it in my file. He
Yeah.
signed
Yeah.
off on it, and so I'm in phase one. I'm doing my thing. I'm incorporating these vegetables. I'm eating them. Um, Me not really connecting it. Okay, I'm still on Coumadin, so not making a connector. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
as I go in to get my lab work done, to check my blood levels, for like 3 months in a row, he was having to adjust my Coumadin. And so finally he went, sweetie, what's going on? What are you doing? Well, I'm on, the idea protein program for weight loss, and I'm eating a lot of green vegetables. I'm eating my spinaches and my greens. He was like, okay, so that explains it all. I said, but I can't have these vegetables. So what am I going to do? I got worried. I really did.
Yeah.
He's, I don't want you to stop doing what you're doing because I'm loving what's going on with you. We'll just have to change your Coumadin to something else. And I went, something else like what? And so he named out some different medicines like Xarelto and Eliquis and various things of that, which will allow you to eat the vegetables that you want to eat without us
Mm-hmm.
impacting your success that you're having so far with the program. And I went, well, why am I on the coumadin in the first beginning then? If I could have had this other thing to be able to eat these vegetables. And he explained to me that coumadin is easy to adjust and then it's more cost effective for people. And so he
Yeah.
gave me a couple of, other medications that I can try, asked me to check on my insurance to see what the copay would look like for me. It would be feasible for me to pay for. And so I did that. And lo and behold, I got on Xarelto with no copay. I'm able to stay on my program, eat all the vegetables that I want. And the great thing about it now is with the Coumadin, I had to go in often to get my lab work done. With the Xarelto, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that.
Wow.
I don't think I've gotten it tested yet since I've been on Xarelto. So that's how effective it is. And I'm still able to eat all my vegetables without having to worry
Mm-hmm.
about, if my blood is going to be clouding or anything like that. So,
So I'm going to call timeout here because you just brought up a really, really great point. I think there are a couple things you've talked about that we take for granted. The average
Mm-hmm.
person listening and watching takes for granted because we don't have to use a wheelchair. Number one, going to the doctor, right?
Yeah.
You're not just jumping in your car, driving yourself, and getting there. It takes
right.
all kinds of arrangements for you to have and get to a doctor appointment, right?
Right. I have to make sure that my caregiver is here. I do have a vehicle. And so I just have to make sure that she's here and available to take me to my
Mm-hmm.
appointments when I need to get there to my appointments. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's an adventure. I mean, it's still not an easy thing to have to keep doing this all the time.
It is an adventure to have to keep doing it all the time because although I'm disabled and in a wheelchair, I also work. I work every day. So I have to make sure that I can take the time off, that I have the time to take off to get to my doctor's appointments. And then if I do take the time off, be back in time enough to log on for work or do whatever I need to do. So yeah, it's pretty, it gets pretty tedious sometimes, but it's doable.
Yeah. So also, we're talking about a weight loss program, right? And the key to any weight loss program is measuring and seeing the weight loss to see that it's effective, right? Can
Hmm.
you talk us through the process, Sharon, that you go to weigh yourself?
Now that's a chore in itself,
Yeah.
okay? Because I can't physically stand on the scale by
Okay.
myself. And then when you look at when you're weighing yourself, you have to be able to sync it to your phone. So you have to be able to, when you stand on the scale, be able to maneuver your phone as well to
Right.
the button to get that done. But so me and my caregiver, we couldn't do that just her and I alone because she could stand me up all day long by herself and work with me all day long by herself. But to weigh, it was something totally different. So I would have to
Yeah.
always make sure someone could come over to help her stand me. So it takes two people to help me stand on the scale to weigh. So therefore I wasn't weighing. And I still can't weigh every week because I can't guarantee I'm gonna have someone here to help her stand
Yeah.
me up to get me weighed. So it was two people stand me up. One would get up on the one arm, one would get up on the other arm, and then stand me up while the other get the phone and say, okay, we got it.
Yeah.
Then if I'm looking at it, it depends on actually how they are standing me up. If one is holding me too hard, more of
Yep.
their weight is going on the scale with me. I'm like, no, you gotta loosen me up some. Okay, let me
Yeah.
lean forward some more. Nope, I'm not standing up straight. Up, didn't take. Let's sit back down. Let's try that again.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes we have like two or three weights in there. Then after I've done it, maybe the third time, I'm like, okay, I'm tired now. I can't do it anymore. We won't get a weight this week. Let's try it again next week. So just
Wow.
those different things, having to go through getting weighed, but getting it done as much as I could when I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Wendy, do you have any thoughts on that too, from your perspective?
Yeah, we absolutely were able to work with the opportunities that Sharon did have to capture the biometrics. With her being, a diligent journaler, right? We can, we know, right? the journal tells the story. And, she to this day continues to journal. But in phase 1, it was critical so that if we needed to course correct anything in the interim of actually capturing biometrics, we could do that based on how she was building her day in the journal. We were always talking about, how she had everything in there. It was fully compliant. If we needed to tweak something, we absolutely did that. But yeah, we understood, and we did deliver the protocol to her virtually,
Yep. Yep.
So, Sharon and I met over Zoom on a weekly basis. It was always great to see her biometrics. I love that for her. I want to see it, and make sure everything's going the way that it should, the way that it's, repeatable, predictable, and measurable. We love all that, the perfect trifecta. But for her to go, okay, this is what I want to see. This is what I needed to see. But in tandem with that, she noticed certain things changing in her body, the shape, the comfort, the way that she's even sitting in her wheelchair, right?
Yep.
As well as kind of some of those points of validation in those regular doctor's appointments that she was also able to get from the medical perspective. So while we didn't have, weekly biometrics and a really clean, straight down chart, it was okay. And, we understood why. She was just so dedicated. There was no reason to call question into my mind and address anything beyond what she was capable of doing.
Yeah, I think that so many of our people get so focused on that number on the scale.
Yeah.
This almost forced you guys to focus on all the other things, right?
Right.
And also too, the way that this protocol works, getting somebody to the point where they just trust it and they surrender to it. And they know that if they are doing it right, if their journal, like you said, looks just like Sharon's looked, she's hitting all the boxes, that you can just be confident she is losing the weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can just be confident that her body is making those changes.
Right. But you have to really, for me, knowing that I'm losing the weight, but believing that I'm losing the weight is two different things.
Yeah.
When I'm losing the weight, but I'm in the store going, that looks too little for me. I don't think I can wear that. I still think I'm bigger than that. So I'm still buying too big clothes because I know I'm losing the weight, but I'm not believing that I'm losing the weight. So I'm for sure. Am I going to buy the right size? So
yeah.
It's a thing. It really is.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
So I want to go back as we're talking about your doctor's visits and your doctor's experience seeing you change your life and change your health through the protocol. Your vascular doctor said, hey, I don't need to be testing you all the time. Talk to us a little bit about your primary care doctor and his experience with you doing this.
I love this man. I really do. He has been my doctor. Even when I was in the nursing home, he was my doctor. So when I moved from the nursing home, he remained my doctor. So he has been my doctor for over a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And he is so caring. He's a teaching doctor. And so he's always having persons that are going to be a nurse practitioner or a PA in his office that that is under his tutelage that he's teaching. So every opportunity he has, he's teaching them something. So whenever he has a student there, I have to get my whole story. Look at my body. And his first thing he asks when I come into the room is, okay, what was your highest weight? Now, how much do you weigh now? Tell him, what are you doing? So I have to go through the whole spiel about the carbs and the proteins and the fats,
I love it.
All of that. Then talk about, okay, so now what are you doing again? What's the name of the program? So we talk about that a little bit. And so I just love it, and then you have to look at my body and my legs and look at the difference in my legs. One of my legs, I have what they call metherma, where it's just a blockage that I have there. So kind of talked about the difference in the legs and various things. But yeah, he's awesome. And I'm just really glad that he believes in just not the program, but he believes in me.
Yeah.
decisions that I make for myself, and to be able to say, okay, if this is what you want to do, let's try this. And so he's going to be willing to do that with me.
Yeah, in today's healthcare landscape, it's hard to find doctors like that, and it is just so amazing you have him and you've had that relationship with him. Wendy and I love hearing the story about how he's teaching students about the Ideal Protein program, because the reality of it is medical physicians really don't get hardly any nutrition education while they're in med school. And for them to hear that you were able to do something like this
Mhm.
through a protocol that flies in the face of a lot of what we are bombarded with is supposed to be healthy nutrition. I get a kick out of that, and I hope that one or more of these students somehow latched onto that, and they seek out an Ideal Protein clinic to partner up with so that they can offer their patients who could benefit from healthy weight loss that opportunity. Wendy, do you have anything to say towards that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I loved as well. It's just another way that there's a ripple effect of the Ideal Protein experience, and who can be a part of your circle of influence, to be able to plant that seed with, students who are looking to practice medicine as a profession, and while they're still in that kind of sponge state of soaking up every little thing, and they're not kind of in the
Yep.
cadence of their beliefs for practice, to see Sharon's experience and understand firsthand the value of nutrition and, a low carb protocol for someone with Sharon's health history. I think that could be a game changer for the way that they carry out their philosophy of practicing medicine for the duration of their career.
Yeah. Yeah. We can only pray for that.
Yeah.
Sharon, how many pounds did you lose through your phase one journey?
I was at 206 when I started. I'm
Hmm.
roughly at like 153 now. So I kind of fluctuate
Yeah.
between the 150, 153
Yeah.
area. So yeah,
That's
I feel
awesome.
so good. I remember my doctor telling me, I also suffer from chronic back pain. I,
Yep.
um, I have a bulging disc in my back. Uh, I have a bulging disc. I have a slip disc, and I also have degenerative disc disease in my back. So I have chronic back pain all the time. So Dr. Barnes,
Yeah.
this is nothing new for you to hear about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so what he told me was losing this weight really helps with the pain that I have in my back. And he did not lie, because I sit all day long. So that's already adding to the pain. But just
Yep.
taking that weight off has been a life changer as well. I still have back pain, but it's nowhere near what it used to be. Nowhere
Hmm.
Yeah.
near where it used to be.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Hey, so now let's move on to phase two and phase three and kind of discuss a little bit of uh, when did you move into phase two and navigating the holidays in phase three and those kinds of things. Talk to our people about that.
So moving into phase two, I was excited. I was. I was excited because I was ready to eat me some potato, you know. I was ready to incorporate me some nuts. I love nuts and I love fruit. And so I was excited about being able to bring those things in, and but bring them in being healthy, not just
Mhm.
coming and just gulping it down. So it was scary. I promise you it was scary. It was very scary. And I
Yeah.
expressed it, Wendy. I was nervous. What if I gain the weight back? What am I able to keep it off? You have all those thoughts that run through your mind. So I went through and matter of fact, I have it sitting right here next to me, my phase two chart that shows all the various foods we can incorporate and bring in. So it was very exciting for me to bring in some of those other foods that I so enjoy and missed, and being able to eat them in moderation, knowing that I can have it and it's safe to have it, not that I have to starve myself and just cut out the things that I like totally. So it was great to bring those foods back in phase two. Um, One of my favorite things that I love to eat is I love corn. So knowing that I can have a cup of corn and it not affect me, um, one of the other things that was so funny, I have always been a bread eater.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like good old toast? And I told Wendy, I said, I need some bread in my life, girl. And everything that I ever liked, I always call Wendy and say, hey, I need this. I cannot do without it. And she said, okay, well, you can have bread. And she gave me the good old Sara Lee 45 Delight. And so I've been incorporating the bread in my life. I have me some toast. Or I call up and say, you know what, Wendy? And I was an avid, Dr. Pepper drinker. I tell you,
Yeah.
I would go to bed with Dr. Pepper. All through the day, drink Dr. Pepper. At night, drink Dr. Pepper. And no, I thought I was going to live without Dr. Pepper. I'm serious. And so one day I called him. I said, Wendy, okay, I need a soda. And so she told me, you can have a soda. And she told me exactly what to buy, and I got that old is it Sevia? I got that old Sevia, and it's okay with me. And so, yeah, those just knowing that you don't have to live your life without having those things that you enjoy. We can still have those things that we enjoy. However, we can have them at a healthier rate. It may not be that same exact product, but you can still have those things that you enjoy, and eat those things that you enjoy, such as your baked potato or your corn or your nuts or your black eyed peas, and even cornbread. Come on now.
Oh, she's getting me there.
I
Oh, the
know.
corn. Oh,
You
there's
know,
cornbread.
it's just,
Oh,
you have to just really think, you know, you don't have to be a glutton to be happy, you know, and
amen, sister.
incorporating those
Yep.
things. So phase 2, oh wow, it was awesome, you know.
Yeah.
And then moving into phase 3, just being able to just say, I got this. I have the foundation of how to maintain what I'm doing, what to do if I fall short. I did have a panic attack after the holidays when I got on the scale and it said something different. I was like, "Oh, Wendy, I'm not happy," but it wasn't a big deal. I knew what she told me, and when you have those, I want to call them like little slip ups, you panic and you forget sometimes everything you learn. Like, oh, nut, just go back. Wendy, she was so gentle. Just go back to drinking your water. Go back to make sure you're getting all your vegetables back in. And so I did that. Within a week, I was back where I needed to be. So I was
Yeah.
back where I needed to be. So I'm like, oh wow, why they even trip out like that? I'm good. That phase,
No, it's natural,
Yeah.
absolutely natural, Sharon. And what that speaks to is Wendy's ability to design lifestyle nutrition for her clients.
yeah.
Successfully navigating that macro code. Wendy, would you like to speak to some of that and how you did that with Sharon?
Oh yeah.
Oh Lord,
It was
that's Mexico.
it was funny that when I was still in my phase 1 journey to lose 130 pounds, I'd started integrating into the ideal protein community through a different professional role, and I kept hearing the fear of moving out of phase 1, and I'm still in the mindset of, oh, I can't wait. I don't know, y'all are crazy. But now being on the other side of that, and then having coached for all these years, it's true. There is a lot of fear of moving outside of the comfort of phase 1, right?
Yep.
And it's exciting. I get excited about all 3 of our phases just because they all provide such a robust and rewarding experience that's really grounded in science and education. And that's the only way that we can enable each individual client to do better, right? To
Yeah.
make this different. Sharon was, typical, questioning, waiting for that shoe to drop, so to speak. When is all this weight going to come back on? Right. So when she had that little moment of panic, we do, calm down.
Mhm.
We know what we're going to do, but heading into phase 2, I just encouraged them. I said, you know what? The thing is, the phase 1 science works for everybody. You're special to me, but you're not really special to the science. Okay. It happens. What happens is you're the wild card in your life. Let's just be honest. I'm the wild card in my life when it comes to food. And you have to continue to stay curious, just as curious as you were week 1 and week 2, and you were thinking ideal protein was not going to work for you. We're here today, right? So you have to maintain that curiosity. If that wanes and your engagement wanes, you're going to get out of it what you continue to put into it, right? And, we do the step down week with the step down journal. We have our one-on-one appointment to work through what is building future days look like for Sharon, right? Together, our clients work, we do a Monday through Friday day, right? Oftentimes they're more structured, and then their homework, because it takes us an hour to work through one of those days. With the way that we deliver that information as far as hitting our macro targets and choices and understanding our food choices, my clients, while they come with 7 days worth of journal sheets, we get through one, rock solidly one. I can't make it more than one, because we're not going to cut corners. And then their homework is to build a weekend, right? What do you want your weekend to look like? You might have more time in the morning. Maybe you've got plans on Saturday or Sunday. And then you send me your homework, right? And so we work through that. And then we just continue to take it week by week. We do, the assessments that we need to make sure, yes, she's living within her macro targets. We did the assessments. And even, Sharon, at the end of the 4th week of stabilization, we had an honest conversation. She wanted to know why we couldn't just move into maintenance. She was ready, right? She really felt ready, and she had done very, very well. But I know enough to know that she's got confidence. We need to keep that working to her benefit and not release her into the wild yet, right? I love that she's ready and waiting, but we're going to see through the 8 weeks, because we have the opportunity to continue to hone into the macro code that's going to work best for Sharon and Sharon's lifestyle and the food choices that Sharon wants to make. A little bit of trial and error possibly finds its way into that 8 weeks.
Yep.
And so we continued to engage through that 8-week period. And then, successfully, we took her converted macro codes into macro target. Her macro target into macro codes. And we headed into maintenance with that confidence. And that was in October of 2022, I want to say. Maybe end of September, I don't recall exactly. But, then Sharon was incorporating some other food choices. Sharon had some wine, everything in moderation, right? Yeah. This great kit at Sam's. And, we again took time to continue to assess how those things are working with her macro code, with her management of her total body weight. And more importantly, did she still even like some of those foods that were shiny objects she couldn't wait to get back on her plate, right? How was her body responding to those foods, right? Those food choices. There were some interesting conversations around that. And, through the course of even where we're at today, Sharon knows confidently how to build her plate. She's got some incredible best practices, which I stand by fully. But again, clients need to come to the realization of what are those pillars of success and maintenance, and what do they look like in real life for us as individuals? Because while it's a little bit different for everybody, it's not vastly different. I can guarantee that.
Right.
Yeah.
Sharon, let me ask you this, because I know the answer to it, but do you still journal while you're in maintenance?
Yes, I do. Now, I learned the error of my ways. I think I said that the other day.
Yeah.
After I, went into, in the stabilization, I'm like, you know what? I got this. I'm a big girl. I know what I'm doing now. I don't need the journal anymore. I don't have time for that. I got other stuff to do. Well, when I had that little hiccup, I went, you know what? I need to put down on something everything I put in my mouth, because this is not working. And so journaling is really important for me. It keeps me on track. I start out in the times, and I plan out in my journal what I'm going to eat that day, so I can see right at a glance exactly what I'm going to eat that entire day and what that looks like for me. And if I'm going to go over any of my codes for my micro codes, and if I have room left to squeeze another snack or something in, it lets me know that, so it lets me know, okay, oh, wow, I've journaled my breakfast, I've journaled my lunch, and I've journaled my dinner. Oh, I have room for this ice cream because I want some ice cream. So I have room for some ice cream the night before I go to bed. So it lets me keep that right at the forefront of what I'm doing for that day.
And Wendy, both of you were talking to me about an ice cream story and barcodes, and talk to our listeners about that.
Yeah, so I have made it a habit now when it's something that I'm in the store because I used to go in the store and just go right to what I want. So now I kind of browse the store and see what's out there, what I may want to have. And if I'm unsure, I'll take out my phone and open up my app for the protein, and I always scan the barcode just to see how many fats it is, how many proteins it is, and more importantly, how many carbs is this baby? Is this worth me eating to take up my carbs, or I need to go and get something differently? So yeah, I scan it, see what it's all about before I even put it in my basket.
I love that. And, that's the thing. And you've touched on it a couple of times during the show. If we do want to incorporate some of these things that we were used to back into our life, there are so many healthier options available to us since the world is finally understanding low carb, healthy fat, creating choices like that for us. And so which brand have you landed on, Sharon, as far as that ice cream goes? You had mentioned a couple the other day.
Halo
Yeah.
is awesome for ice cream, as well as I found another brand. It's called Rebel. Rebel is really good as well. And I love ice cream. It's really ice cream. It really is ice cream.
Yeah. I've heard of both of those, and it's been said that oh gosh, you shouldn't fear carbs. We can't tell our people to fear the carbs. It's not fear, it's respect, right? That's the term that I like to use. We have to respect what carbs can do to us. Yeah. And like you said, once you have that respect, it makes you curious about how you're actually going to which ones you want to include in your lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, you got something to say about that, Wendy?
Yeah, I was going to, I just kind of keep getting this visual as I'm thinking about Sharon's journey. And, it's like stabilization is with the training wheels on the bike, right? If you've ever taught a child, you remember when you learned how to ride a bike, you have those training wheels and they're not dead set on both sides of that wheel. They're a little off so you can learn how to catch yourself, right? And then we go into phase 3 and the training wheels are off, but whoever is training you is running kind of right beside you, right behind you to catch that seat, and I'm always very cautious to never tell my clients no about anything. It's up to them how they build their day. They've got all the tools to understand the choices that they're making. And if we just can't do all the things, right? It's what's the priority? What do you want to have? What do you want to enjoy? And, it keeps them in the driver's seat of that bike, right? And it's what's going to enable them to zip around the neighborhood just happy as a clam with their friends and family, right? And so she does have those foundational best practices and maintenance. Even, we had her maintenance appointment earlier today, and we were talking about serving sizes and recipes, and sometimes how food manufacturers massage a serving size just to get a label,
Yep.
We are in charge of our serving size if we've made that food choice, whether it's half or double or whatever that is. It's a good compass to read the label. We need to be informed. But serving sizes vary. And with that Halo Top, I'm waiting. Maybe somebody that works at Halo Top watches your podcast. I've asked them to put halos inside their container so when you've eaten a serving, right? Just put a little
That would be awesome. Because it's so good.
Inside the canister, please.
You know what, Halo, if you're watching or listening, I think that's a great idea. And only Wendy, only Wendy would contact. I love it. I absolutely love it. Hey, let's bring this plane in for a landing, because
Okay.
there's one other, I think, significant topic of discussion here that you have for us with Sharon's story. And that topic is generational health. This has been something Wendy and I have talked about multiple times. The concept of when somebody does ideal protein, the trickle up effect to parents or the trickle down effect to kids. What kind of story do you have here, Sharon?
Well, as I stated when I got on the program, I was having a conversation with my brother. My brother Marcus, he's done out there protein, not once but a couple of times, and he talked to me about it, and that's how I got educated about the program, and it's worked out for me. And as we saw the progress that I was making, we brought my mom aboard. My mom is 76 years old. My mom is is diabetic, hypertension, and all those other things. And at 76, she's very active in the community. She goes to Hawaii. She goes on trips. They go. I mean, it's hard keeping up with these senior citizens. I mean, they are at the Kentucky Derby. I mean, she's very active. So my mom is 76. I believe she's about maybe 80 pounds.
Yep.
So you're talking a healthy family, and it's really amazing at the holidays, just being able to share that and have your other family members to see how healthy you're eating and some of the things that you're doing. But it's also funny how they look at you and go, "Can you have that? Are you supposed to eat that? Girl, I eat whatever I want to eat. Yeah, I can have that." So it's been awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, go ahead, Wendy.
Yeah, we do aspire to create generational health at the Institute for Metabolic Transformation. And initially, my vision was more cast down to children, born after 2001, and all the very scary statistics that they're going to be faced with as it relates to obesity and their health, even at the onset of adulthood, right?
Yep.
But through the course of my time engaging with clients and even my own parents, I've been able to recognize the gift of the generational health up and forward. Gwen, Sharon's mom, did an incredible job in phase 1, very compliant, and the ladies had fun sharing recipes, sharing dinners that were made. They drop off at her house, drop off at mom's house. But Gwen has had the same experience, and she's in her biweekly end of her biweekly maintenance appointments with me, and she successfully navigated the holidays. They've got a big family. They get together, they have fun, they play games, they have an abundance of food, and both the ladies successfully navigated the holidays. I had Gwen's appointment yesterday. She took the bus up to the casino for her birthday, which was last week. So she enjoyed the casino and all that fun. And, she, after the holidays too, was like, I'm up just a little bit, still very controlled. But again, understanding the value of modifying what works within her macro code. Get on the phone with her yesterday, and she's absolutely right back where she wants to be. And she couldn't be more thrilled that she enjoyed her holidays. She had her birthday fun at the casino. She did have significant knee pain, and it was starting to affect her mobility. And now she's at the Y walking every day. She's made a point to walk every day. Yeah. So really the generational health has gone through Sharon's family, and it's just an absolute blessing. And I know that the grandkids, all the grandkids and everybody is seeing all this, Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's been very rewarding.
So awesome. Well, Sharon, I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with us and for allowing Wendy and I to bring your story to Ideal Protein Nation. Like we talked about before, I am sure that this is going to inspire someone out there to take the journey and hopefully have an experience like you had. Is there anything else we've kind of left on the table that you would say to somebody who is, in that situation, like, look, I'm in a wheelchair, I can't exercise, How am I going to expect to lose weight? Should I do this? Should I invest in this ideal protein program? What would you say to them?
Yes, I would definitely just encourage anyone, whether you're in a wheelchair or not, we invest in a lot of things in our lives. Some of
Yeah.
those things we don't need to invest in, but we do. I had to bite the bullet and invest in myself. And I think that's the best thing in life to invest in when it comes to your health.
Yep.
Um, invest in your health. If you don't invest in anything else, invest in being healthy. Invest in your health. It's worth it. And you would definitely see the change in it. I thought I wouldn't. I just thought it would be another phase that I would go through in my life and have to try to do something else differently. But the mindset I had after going into it had to change. And so I changed my mindset. You sometimes we go into things with a fixed mindset as though it's not going to work for me. I've been down this road before, but sometimes we have to flip that and go into the thing as a growth mindset.
Yep.
This is going to be different for me. I'm going to do something different. I know I can do it, and I have the support that I need to get it done. And I think that's key with this program. You have the support. Not only do you have some members on your family or friends that's going to support you, but you actually have support from the program to be there with you to make sure that you are getting those questions that you need to get answered. If you get stumped, if you feel even how you feel from day to day, you still have that support. You can always call on that coach if it's just a simple question as to how do I do this? Or what do you think about that? Or just bouncing ideas off them. You have that support. And I think that's really huge. Um, I have a friend that went through a program and I said, well, did you have any support from the program, like a coach or anything? And they said no. And so after I finished talking the other day, I went, I could be an ideal protein spokesperson. God, I think I just sold this program to somebody. So I think just investing in yourself is
Yeah.
what do you think is
100%.
important in life right now? And I think that investment in your health is really important for anyone.
100%. And not only that, Sharon, I see Wendy hiring you as one of her coaches as well.
And I'll take it.
I think there's a spot. I think there's a spot on the team there at some point.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
She would be a wonderful coach, right?
I
It
would
comes from
definitely.
successful experiences,
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I couldn't have articulated Sharon's sentiment better. There are plenty of things that we can invest in, or things that we're not even intentionally investing in, but spending money on, that will not yield the value in life that your health will. So, it's
Wow.
you're your biggest and best investment. You need to look at it that way.
Right. And right before we even came on, I was telling Dr. Barnes, when I was going to the office every day, I was buying my lunch, buying my breakfast, sometimes coming home buying my dinner. And so
Yeah,
just that alone was hundreds of dollars a month for me just eating out. And so
absolutely.
just flipping it and investing in my health was something that was a mind changer for me, a game changer. It was a game changer for
Yeah,
me and a mind changer, to be honest with you. So for both.
it
So
is, right?
yeah, both really. So that's what I did, and I'm happy. I'm happy with the decision that I made. I'm happy
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
And I'm
Absolutely.
happy for you, Sharon. I really thank you so much for bringing your testimony to the Life Possible podcast.
Yeah.
I appreciate your openness and sharing. It's been an incredible story. I've been absolutely blessed beyond measure to be able to work with you and walk through this journey. And I look forward to our continued successes together.
Yes, you won't get rid of me at all. I'm gonna be around.
I love it. Well, thank you both, ladies. Again, I really appreciate it. And hang out backstage for me while I wrap this show up.
Okay. Thanks, Dr. Barnes.
Thank you.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. I told you that today's show would be nothing short of inspirational, motivational. What an incredible story of triumph. Sharon James, her coach, Wendy White Stevens, again, If you noticed, I was taking notes during the show because every time I interact with Wendy, I pick up things as a coach and a clinic owner that I want to say, that I want to be able to use. So thank you again for joining us on the Life Possible podcast. If you got something from this and you know people in your life that could benefit from it, please like the show, share it on your Facebook feed. Video is on YouTube and Facebook, and audio is on all audio platforms. Go to your favorite podcast audio platform, subscribe to the show, download it, send it to your friends and family. So I am going to, I'm going to get out of here at this stage of the game, but I'm going to tell you, I've got a lineup of clients, people that are going to guests that are going to be on my show that are going to blow your mind. I already have the next episode in the hopper. I have I've got a famous sports figure that's going to join me here very shortly that I'm super excited about. We've got all kinds of great stuff for everybody. So thank you so much for coming and joining us on the Life Possible podcast. And as I always say, keep reaching, keep pursuing your own life possible.